these gluten-free cookies have clean ingredients, no seed oils. These are still an ultra-processed food, in my opinion. This is a healthified ultra-processed food. Goodles, love Goodles. And I love these brands, by the way. I just don't eat these on a daily basis. Goodles, healthified processed food. This is still an ultra-processed food. It is still a refined carbohydrate. These, absolutely ultra-processed food. These are so good. Because we keep it scrunchy, not crunchy around here. I love these the week before my period. These just hit. Gluten-free, right? The ingredients are abysmal. These are an ultra-processed food. Jovial, one of my favorite pasta brands. Very simple ingredients. It's just brown rice flour and water. They still have to refine the brown rice into a noodle. That is a refined carbohydrate. And there's just not what nutrients. You're not getting a ton. Again, this hits the spot sometimes. But what nutrients are you getting in just eating like brown rice flour pasta? Almond flour crackers from Aldi. These are an ultra-processed food. I shop a lot at Aldi. I love Aldi. Gluten-free ravioli. These, I have not been able to find these in months. They are so good if you can find them. Still a refined carbohydrate and ultra-processed food. This little gluten-free brownie I have from Cheryl's Cookies. Ultra-processed carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate. We have these gluten-free pretzels, refined carbohydrate, ultra-processed food. Gluten-free popcorners. Pretty sure these are gluten-free. Ultra-processed food. Are these foods bad? Absolutely not. But we need to get outside of this like very black and white thinking when it comes to nutrition, like food bad, food good. No, these are just like a less than 5% of the time food. But do you see how easy it is for your entire diet to be comprised of ultra-processed gluten-free carbs? And the hardest thing is if you're gluten-free because you have an autoimmune condition or you have a chronic illness, or maybe you've noticed you feel better with PCOS when you don't eat gluten, which is a lot of people I work with as a nutritional therapist. Do you see how easy it is for gluten-free processed foods to take up the majority of your diet? This is the crux of eating gluten-free, because I would actually argue that a lot of gluten-free processed foods are even more processed and even more refined than processed foods that contain wheat. For me personally, the gluten-free pretzels are still going to be a healthier choice than the gluten-containing pretzels, because I know how gluten impacts me. It impacts my mental health. It impacts my joint pain. My whole body feels like it's lit on fire with inflammation when I consume. Even when I get gluten by accident, and I don't have celiac disease, but I see a lot of people go gluten-free and they say, I eat so healthy because I'm gluten-free. And then in my nutrition, I'm a nutritional therapist, so I basically am on Zoom calls all day coaching people on their nutrition. I look at their diet, and their diet is 70% gluten-free processed foods, ultra-processed foods. If you have signs and symptoms of insulin resistance, this can look like 80% of women with PCOS have insulin resistance. This is what drives all of the hormonal issues, the acne, the hair loss, the skin tags, darkening under the folds of the arms, unexplained weight gain, fatigue, brain fog. 92% of the US population is not metabolically healthy, which means we are all kind of experiencing this low-grade chronic inflammation from blood sugar issues. And we know refined carbohydrates are going to spike your blood sugar much higher than if you were to eat an apple, a pear, berries, potatoes, squash. So I'm not saying that these things are bad. It is just so easy, and I'll say this from personal experience, it sneaks in. It's like, okay, a gluten-free sandwich for lunch, a gluten-free pizza for dinner. Oh, I'm gonna have some gluten-free pretzels. Next thing you know, your entire diet is ultra-processed, which leads to massive blood sugar spikes and crashes. The most anti-inflammatory way you can eat is avoiding refined carbohydrates. And again, I clearly eat these things because I have these things in my apartment, but I just don't eat them every single day. They're like a sometimes thing. Nutrient-dense carb sources would be things like potatoes. I have this acorn squash. For breakfast, I had 2 apples on the side with my scrambled eggs, like really simple. but getting the majority of your carbs from whole real foods. And I think a lot of people just spend so much time in the grocery store reading ingredient lists. It's like, if you're buying single ingredient foods, it simplifies everything. There's no ingredient list to read. If 90% of your food is coming here, I really could care less, to be honest, if there's a little bit of seed oils in my gluten-free pretzels, because I don't, like, this is what 90% of my diet looks like.